and by passionate, I don't mean you have to be, oh my God, I love quadratic equations, because I mean, really, who does? And welcome back to the Angry Teacher channel. I'm Richard Woons, the Angry Teacher. If it's your first time here, thanks for coming by. This channel is all about education, whether you're teacher, parent, student, or admin. So if any of this sounds like it's something that you'd be interested in, hit the likes, the comment, and subscribe so you'll be kept in the loop for the next Dope Angry Teacher video, because you know it will be, right? So in any case, and those of you who've been here before, you know I love you to death. You are the reason the Angry channel exists. Thanks. Let's get into the video. So when I'm making this video, it's the end of the year, a very chaotic year, but the end of the year nonetheless, and we're getting ready for graduation and evaluating our students, right? So if you're watching it now, it's timely and it will help. If you're watching it in the beginning of the year or any time throughout the year, these are just tips that will help you to evaluate what your students have done and how to vary it a little bit so it's not too monotonous for you or the students. With that said, number one, mix your performance. Even if you're using the same rubric, and you should possibly use the same rubric so they know they're being evaluated for the same things. I'm looking for the quality, I'm looking for the content and all that good stuff. But check out my video about rubrics and how to create them, and that will help you out. But make sure if you're mixing it up, you're mixing up the performance, how you want to evaluate them, right? So we're looking at have a performance, or have an essay instead of the regular short answers, or have short answers instead of the essay, have an oral presentation, have a creative aspect where they create like a little booklet or something that varies how you look at what they've learned, or if they've learned. And when you do it that way, it spices up your class as well, and it touches other kids' learning modalities and preferences, instead of just having that one mode of evaluation. And even if once again, if you're using the same rubric or the same ideas from the rubric, you can vary the rubric, because some things obviously will change, because if you're giving them a short response assignment, you're not necessarily going to hear them speak. So with that said, you know, obviously their tone and where they move and eye movement and all that stuff won't be applicable. However, you know, add the fact that the content is there, that they knew they were talking about. All this good stuff needs to be there, but you can vary how you look at their performance throughout the year. Exhibit number two. Do students show the same emotion for the content? What that means is, if you're explaining quadratic equations and you're not passionate about it, you're unsure of yourself, and by passionate, I don't mean you have to be, oh my God, I love quadratic equations, because I mean, really, who does? But with that said, are you knowledgeable enough to speak well about it, to write well about it, to do, okay, I can do 4 of these with no problem, or even if I have a little bit of problem, I'm not stuck at the first one. So that kind of shows me if you know anything about the content. So that's what it means about exhibit. You're showing me what you know, and you're showing me how well you know it. If the excitement or the passion to complete the task isn't there, whether you like the content or not, if you know, because some of my kids, right, they don't like writing. But if I give them an essay, they pop that bad boy out, and it's a good essay. It's just that they know the content, they know what they're doing, they know how to do it. So you don't have to love it, but you have to be able to deliver the content. I asked you to do X, and you're doing X. Even if you're stuttering or you're getting to the point, that determines if I'm seeing if you've learned anything. Number 3, going it alone. Now, younger students or lower students, you know, academically, we tend to put them in groups all the time. But one of the new or easy ways to evaluate if a student has learned and I think it's probably more accurate, is if you see them going it alone. If you give them a task and they're doing it well by themselves, you know if they've learned. Or if they're not doing it well by themselves, you know they haven't learned. In group situation, it kind of blurs the lines of who's doing what. There's always one who's going to take over and do everything by themselves because they get frustrated with the others who aren't doing enough or don't know enough to do enough. So when you see a child do by themselves, so you want to give some evaluations for the individual, so you can see if Mary is learning by herself or has learned by herself, and then you'll see exactly where to go from there. All right, so going it alone is not a bad thing, especially if they withdraw from the group. You know that they want to get it done or the group thing isn't working. So sit with Mary, kind of prod her and see what she's thinking or whatever about the content and the subject area, and she probably knows stuff. She just doesn't want to work with people. Number 4, rubric. Provide one and use one. When I give my presentations, my kids know exactly what I'm looking for. The same, for the most part, the same rubric I am using to evaluate them, I make sure they have a copy so they know they're looking at it and they know how to practice and they know exactly what I'm looking for. Sometimes the questions might be a little bit different or more student friendly, or I might add some more student friendly things to the person who is watching the presentation. So provide a rubric for your students so they'll know exactly how they're going to be evaluated. It's only fair. Prep. Number 5, the I do's. Now, you know, we have the we do's and the you do's, and then we evaluate normally on the you do's. But before we get to that point, we have to do a lot of I do's. So I show them how, okay, this is what I don't want you to do. So we're practicing how we're going to do our presentation. I'm practicing how I want you to turn the essay in. I'm telling you what I want you, what I expect to see. And I give exemplar essays, I give anchor papers, all these things that will help them know that this is what he's looking for and this is what I'm producing. I need to step it up or I'm good. Prep them. Number 6, particulars. Now, we do a lot of whole evaluations, whole standards, and we have a whole lot of them, but we can look at the particulars. Okay, right now we're doing themes and character analyses. However, Johnny, I know that you had issues with tone or with main idea. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna see if you even understand what's going on here. Because if you don't understand the main idea, chances are you won't get the theme. So let's see if you know that first. So I'll evaluate you on the main idea and then we can kick it up a notch. So look at the particular parts. You don't have to grade them on the whole thing all the time. We're writing an essay. Do you know how to do the introduction? Let's look at the introduction first. Let's break it apart and look at the particular parts that we need, and then I can evaluate you on the whole at some point. Number 7, timing. Are the students there yet? Are they ready for the next step? Are they ready to, you know what? I've said enough. I've covered this enough. Let's give an evaluation so I know that you're there, that you understand what's going on, because I don't want to keep going and belaboring a point. I feel that you're hungry enough to move on. I feel that you're hungry enough. You got it. So let's evaluate you right now so I know that you'll do your best and you'll be your best. I don't want to keep dragging it out so you lose interest, or maybe I'm testing you too quickly. Maybe I'm evaluating you too quickly. We just went over this for 1 week. I probably need to give you another week so you can get more comfortable with it, and then I'll give you the assessment. And number 8, ironically, is relaxing. Loosen up a little bit. Sometimes you can evaluate a student without, and I know we have to put something in the gradebook, I get it. But sometimes we can evaluate students without telling them I'm evaluating you, or without having something on paper and they're writing, or having a performance, or sometimes you can just talk to them. You know, yesterday, guys, we talked about the U.S. Constitution, blah, 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 blah. What were your thoughts? Do you think it affects us, blah, blah, blah? And when they start talking and whatever in your head, or, you know, I use my magic clipboard. You know, I'm sitting down, I'm listening, and I'm checking off stuff. Okay, Peter said a lot. Peter knew this, Peter knew X, Peter knew that. Abigail didn't. She wasn't saying anything. So chances are I need to sit with Abby, or send her to Peter, or talk to the kids some more about this topic. and then I know, you know, she'll get it. But you don't have to actually produce an assessment all the time. Sometimes you have them relax, and then you can actually hear if they've learned, because they're in a more relaxed state. They've calmed down. They're not panicking over a grade because they don't know they're getting one, or they're just not getting one, and they're just not panicking because they know that this is just a chill moment. We're just talking, and then you can see, wait a minute, they were actually paying attention to the lesson. They've learned something. Those are the 8 new kind of evaluative tools that you can use, and I've used a lot of these and they've worked. It lightens my load, and I'm sure it will do that for you. So right now, guys, go out there and be great. Have a great day from the Angry Teacher. See you in the next video.